For the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, Nigeria has been having challenges that are beckoning and waiting for answers and solutions. That is why we are bringing to you our program, State of the Nation. And this is going to come up on our flagship program this morning on ITV. I am hereby inviting you to join me, Bola Bakare, your host, on State of the Nation, so that we can hasten the motions that brings national development. It's going to be a regular basis on Tuesdays. Make it a date with me. I'll be there waiting for you, and then we shall discuss Nigeria on an holistic level.
Welcome to your lofty program, State of the Nation, where we hasten the motions for national development. And when it comes to national development, you're part of it too. And when we talk about national development, we have to talk in terms of what gives us the government that gives us the development. What are we talking about here? We are talking politics. Nigeria has been on edge for the past few days based on the fact that the incumbent ruling party, the APC, is yet to have his party primaries, which is going to start today, though, by 10 a.m. But as we speak, a lot of things, news is rife out there. A lot of people are saying A, B, C, D. We all have rights to our own personal opinions. Unfortunately, fake news is doing its own bit. Good news is going its own bit, and whatever you can think of. Everything has been mixed up into this salad that is, I don't know if it's palatable or not, but it is a salad as we speak, multicolored. That is why this morning we're going to deal on this same serious aspect. That is the aspect of saying the incumbent government is going to have its own primaries today. We hope it happens, because they are stalling our polity. Everybody is on edge. But be that as it may, we need to go back a little bit. Think, maybe for the past 2-3 weeks, think about the two majors. The other major that has had his own primaries, what effect that one is having on the incumbent, and all the bits and pieces that makes up this equation into something that is fantastic, which is something that is going to end up giving us our Mr. President. But the thing is, my guest here is a regular. And if you know him, you will know that he's as straight as an arrow. He says it as it is. I call him a gentle activist because he's getting old these days. Join me in welcoming to the studio my brother Cosmas Uzodimma.
Thanks for having me, Bola.
Good morning, my brother.
Thanks,
Right. Like I said in my opening, we are now on the threshold of having the second major, so to speak, come up with his own primaries. But prior to the primary coming up today, a lot of shenanigans have happened. INEC has shifted posts by alluding to the fact that, okay, let us extend the date, which some of the other parties said, why do you have to extend it? Most parties have done their primaries. Are you using the power of incumbency to say, okay, we can do anything we want? But be that as it may, that one is still, they are still within limits of what INEC said. I'm going to ask you serial questions, so give them to me as I ask. What do you think about the fact of INEC shifting the date from what the other parties agreed to and what is happening right now?
Thank you. I think INEC should, once it begins to dithering, it begins to send wrong signals to the polity. And if you give the entire parties a deadline, they had a goalpost, and they shot, and then at the end, when it came to somebody's case, you shift the goalpost. Well, people could begin to watch you. Automatically, people begin to be careful, people begin to be sensitive, and begin to shudder and say, is this man going to do the right thing? And I believe it's too early in the day for INEC to begin to show signs of, inclining itself to doing the biddings, changing the atmosphere to suit the temperature, to suit a particular party.
Thank you.
So I think this is already one down for them. This is already a thumbs down for them.
Okay.
And they already have a responsibility to demonstrate, excellence.
That they are going to be free, fair.
That we're going to have a free, fair, and credible elections.
Okay. Okay.
In the coming polls.
Thank you. On that note, we were able to settle the case of INEC. Now let us come to the political parties. If you notice, about 2 weeks plus back, the two majors were watching and waiting for who is going to blink first. Yeah, because if you spring up your own presidential candidate first, it gives us a chance to go and look in our own house and come up with somebody who can formidable enough to go to battle with you, so to speak. Right now, the APC is going to be our topic, basically because that is what every Nigerian is talking about as we speak. Let us start looking at all the shenanigans within the APC. From the element of indirect primaries that warrants candidates, and the case of consensus, that is a case in question that has been rife in the polity. Let us take it one by one. What do you think in terms of these candidates and the fact that, honestly, I will use the language, they've become prostitutes in our polity? What do you think in terms of indirect primaries and the demand for money by the delegates?
Well, I'm a rooter for the law. If you put in rules, I believe those rules, and you act within those rules, I don't think there's a problem there. If you said, if the Electoral Act allows parties to choose which kind of primaries they want,
be it direct or indirect,
be it direct, be it indirect, be it consensus, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
So we can't debate that because it's already, they call it, it's a settled law.
That's right, it's a given.
It's a given.
Right.
So we don't bother about that. We can't begin to analyze why direct primaries, because at the end of the day, they are coming to the direct polls. The election is direct, so they're coming there. And whichever way you do to bring us candidates into, but although we would have preferred a much more, contested primaries, where it would be, what we're talking about, internal democracy.
Within the parties? Within
the parties.
Okay, that comes up with the indirect situation.
And the direct primaries is more consistent with internal democracy within a party.
Because we did it before and it was good.
Yes, because you allow more people to participate, in the choice of who a party is going to bring out.
Of course.
But if a party goes more into indirect, or it becomes more dictatorial, you are not allowing the leadership of the party to dictate who they are going to throw up
as delegates,
or as contestants in the forthcoming elections. And well, it's okay. We have seen the kind of people they are bringing in, and we only hope at the end of the day, we have more than 20-something registered parties. I don't know where they are, and we're expecting more. We're now talking about Labour Party, ABGA, and the YPP, and a few others.
Some of them are making waves, though.
Some of them are making waves, too. So at the end of the day, let's see what happens.
It brings me back, excuse me, to what I said. What do you think in terms of these delegates of indirect primaries and their quest for money?
Oh, it's a show of shame. It's a show of shame, you know. Like we just observed in the PDP case, that of it becomes for the highest bidder. And it does not portend progress for our nation. It doesn't matter how you made the money. You see people with doubtful, financial pedigree. A lot of them are former governors, a lot of them former leaders who, before they became politicians, you never knew what they were doing. Suddenly the people are throwing bags of money into the election system, and we are sitting down and we are clapping, and we're even using that, and we're using that against other parties. We keep asking, will he bring the money? If you call some of that presidential candidates, what many people will say, will he bring the money?
Does he have money?
Does he have money? He is stingy.
If he doesn't have money to go and sit down somewhere.
He is stingy, and so on and so forth. But when we look back in history, in recent history, the circumstances that threw up the current president, it wasn't rife with money.
Buhari didn't have money. He couldn't even buy a phone.
Buhari didn't have money. He couldn't even buy a phone. So if it happened, why do we have such a short sense of history? Just a few years ago, we had a presidential candidate that emerged without throwing barrels of money into the system. And right now we are asking questions why would somebody come out when he doesn't have money? I just wonder. I mean, there's some.
That's a shame on our polity, right?
It's a terrible contradiction, which is it's a shame of the nation.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let's move forward and deal with the third aspect of these primaries, which is a case of consensus. What is your own definition of a consensus candidate? Well,
the only definition of consensus candidate is that which was given by Julius Nyerere. You know, when he was confronted by the whites on why Africa, the issue of election in Africa is a farce. Well, he told them that it's consistent with African tradition, where you discuss till you agree.
I like that. You discuss till you agree. That's a consensus.
That's consensus. So I think what APC has been doing for the last 3 weeks, they have been discussing
to agree
till they agree.
Till dates, and then we are not seeing any agreement on the horizon.
So means that things are shifting.
Okay.
You know.
Let's now go a little bit deep into the APC proceedings and what they've been doing in the past days. Over the past days, we've been hearing a lot of things. One, the president came up with the fact that they should give him a chance to anoint somebody. Let's start from there. What do you think about that language? Though it's been rescinded, but what do you think for it to come out at all?
He didn't use the word. Use what he said.
Go ahead.
To choose his successor.
What do you think about that?
Well, you know, I think, I don't think he will go straight to mean that a lot of people were insinuating he's going to affect the elections. Since you want to choose a successor, what you choose a candidate within your party that will run, that will represent, that will fly the flag of your party. I think those were, is it called the Freudian slip?
That's a Freudian slip.
It might be a Freudian slip.
It is, because he has now reneged on it. He said, no, I'm not going that way.
That's what Nigerians...
let them go to the field.
You know, Freudian slip, something that something like George Bush said the other time about the war in Iraq, when he wanted to refer to the war in Ukraine. He said the war in Ukraine was an error. He said the war in Iraq was an error. So there's a people begin, oh, you're already beginning to know
that was an
the
error.
war you led was an error. So people are also insinuating the same thing on the president, on Mr. President.
That's right.
Why would you say to choose a successor? It means you've perfected arrangement to choose who's going to do this. This is one aspect of it, but a number of people feel that, well, it wasn't a Freudian slip. It's a genuine sleep in which you felt that.
Thank you. That brings us to, let's get personal here, because if we look at them as individuals, they are power brokers. Honestly, we should accord them that level of being power brokers, being in the corridors of power, being kingmakers and the rest of it. There was this outburst of, I mentioned his name out here, Asiwaju Bola TINUBU, who said, yes, this is my time to become Mr. President. Based on one thing, that is what I want to ask you. Yeah. Based on a gentleman's agreement he had with President Buhari then. I am looking at it from this angle. In Africa, if you borrow me money, we don't sign papers. Yes. But when it's time to collect, you can say it in the presence of 10 people, hey, where's my money? And we don't deny it. We've never denied it. Forget the fact that these days everybody say, write a paper, I'll take you to court. If you take me to court, it depends on how good my lawyer is, and I will win a case that is not gentlemanly.
Yes.
But what I'm looking at is, what do you think about that gentleman agreement that, in quote, TINUBU had with Buhari, that, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Once you're through with 8 years, I will come over, because according to our zoning system, it's going to come to the south anyway, so I might as well be the candidate.
Yeah, there are two issues there. The first instance, the first arrangement was that the president will go and TINUBU will be his vice president.
Yes, that was the status.
Until
Muslim
camp, yeah, the Muslim ticket. Until the camp of Saraki said no, that the way the country is now, it's not right for such thing that is going to cause a lot of concern.
Yeah.
And so what happened was he nominated the vice president.
Yes.
So, and to that extent, he has been given a position in governance. But again, you know, there's I think there was such an agreement.
Unwritten, really. Unwritten. A gentleman's agreement. I call it a gentleman's unwritten.
Of course, everybody knows Mr. President as Megaskia. And if such an agreement is there,
it's not everybody that knows Megaskia.
He said, let him, it would be nice if somebody stands, you know, the Bible talks about a man that goes to heaven is a person who is ready to swear to his own heart.
That's right, that's right.
You must swear to your own heart. You've made an agreement, go ahead.
Keep it. And
keep it. But this is democracy. You do not give what you don't have. What TINUBU was asking Mr. President, the president does not have it.
What was he asking him?
You were asking him to anoint you as the presidential candidate. But no, this is democracy.
I believe TINUBU is saying, well, let us go to the field.
This is what they should go. That is what they should go now. Let them go to the field. Let them go to do their primaries.
And test our popularity.
And test their popularity.
That's right.
But as far as this is where, you know, I think the president can push the entire arrangement. But you cannot, I can't ask you to
nominate me or make me your successor.
Because I'm talking with you here. You asked me that if something happens, they're going to make me the MD of ITV. It's not yours.
That's right. It's not. It's not my call.
It's not your call. It's not yours. So who becomes the president of Nigeria is not the duty in a democracy.
It is the electorate that decides that.
It's the electorate that decides. So we must subsume one truth under a bigger truth. The bigger truth is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay.
The bigger truth is democracy. And democracy, it is a responsibility of millions of Nigerians to participate in the choice of who governs them.
Okay.
When those arrangements were doing, more water has gone through the tunnel.
Of course.
You understand? More people who were not privy to that agreement have entered APC.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So the circumstances have changed. So we cannot, if you owed somebody in pounds, in the days Nigeria.
Before 72.
Before 72.
You're going to collect your money in Naira.
You're going to collect your money in Naira. You're not going to say, well, you borrowed, the agreement wrote, you borrowed me, you loaned me
10
pounds.
Or 100 pounds.
So now you must give me 100 pounds. I don't have 100 pounds to give
I'll give you.
Things have changed.
Of course.
So APC have changed. Many people have come into the party. The environment has changed. Economic circumstances have changed. So to continue to demand that the president, by consensus or by kind of dictatorship.
No, I don't think he is. He's telling the president exactly to. He's just saying it across that. Okay, we had a deal before. Even when in 2014, 2015, they had party primaries with the likes of Buhari, Atiku, Rochas, and the rest of them. They were all there.
They were there.
So I guess what he's asking for is the same playing field that, okay, we have a deal before, but at the same time, I'm going to test my popularity first, because that's the essence of a party primaries, to bring up a standard flag bearer that can go into the general elections on behalf of the party. Let's lay that.
I think the best thing is that the best, most gentlemanly thing to do is for them to go to the
primaries. I guess that is what we're going to have, and that is what we are praying for.
Yes.
But at the same time, this element of consensus. The man said something earlier, which I don't know. I want your view. Nigerians want your view. He said, if there is going to be a consensus, I should be the consensus candidate. What do you think?
Like I said before, yeah, he has a point. Nobody would begrudge Asiwaju that. Nobody would begrudge him if he places such a demand on the table.
Okay.
I think if there's going to be a consensus, even those who are coming in now, they were not there when the agreement was made. So they should be able to...
You don't want them to be beneficiaries of an arrangement he made.
No, yeah, because, you know, some foundations were dug before you came into a building. You wouldn't say pull down the building because you've just come in now. And you must live in the building. The continued construction of that building must be consistent with the foundation that has been dug. Okay. If the foundation is there is a standing agreement, and so all of them they should be loyal to it until new circumstances emerge. I think that's what they can do. Okay, what about, because I told you earlier, I'm going to ask you serious questions, and I trust you. Our viewers trust you. They know your face that you come up with good answers. Okay. There was this kite that was flown a few hours back. Let me call you a few hours, because Nigerians are thinking not in terms of days, in terms of hours for the past 30, 48 hours. When the party chairman, Adamu, sprung up a kite and said, I heard Mr. President told me that Ahmed Lawan is the consensus candidate. It has been refuted. Yeah. But what do you think brought up a situation like this? Is it because if situations like this keep occurring, it shows that the party is in dire straits? Yeah, you've said it all, that the party is in a dire strait. And I believe that. I think also that there are certain factors that are at play. You know, the governors all through the current political dispensation have always banded themselves together to play the role of the
decision makers.
The decision makers. And when it comes to choice of who leads the party, the governors looks like they're holding a very tough hold. They have a very strong hold
over the president,
over the party.
The party, okay.
And all over, you have been seeing right from the times of Odele, even in PDP. You notice how the River State governor was so strong, was so powerful.
Yes.
Governors want to determine. But again, there's another power group, which represented by Orji Zokalo, which is the legislative group.
That's right.
The legislative group, you know, maybe the parliamentarians would want the presidency to throw up one of theirs. That's why you see Orji Zokalo and the senators and someone.
They're backing Ahmed Lawan somewhat.
Ahmed Lawan.
Okay.
And you could also see the governors backing. Maybe I think 11 of them believe that they should go to Asiwaju TINUBU, while another set
believes in something else.
At
this juncture, let me, now that you're talking about the governors, what do you think about their postulation lately when they sat down and say, okay, let us honor, because that is part of all these unwritten laws.
Yes.
I was one of those that called the Governors Forum a club, because it's not in our constitution. They just came together, and they're doing a good job, really, like you rightly said. The idea of zoning is not in our constitution, really. Exactly, but it's something that satisfies the polity, carries everybody along. And then the case of the northern governors saying it outright, that, look, let us keep to that, our arrangement, that zoning arrangement. Let this thing go to the south. What do you think about, because I'm saying this, because at that meeting, one of them, who is from the North Central, stormed out of the meeting and said, what does anybody mean?
Yeah, I think, incidentally, that if what that governor did was a minority decision, I believe in that
Of
decision.
course, yes. Of course.
I believe in that decision. Why is it now? Why are the governors suddenly waking up to know that they had a zoning arrangement? No, it wasn't so. They know it's a game.
What did you expect them to have done earlier?
Yeah, it's a game. They should have known that. They should have, right from the word go, say there is zoning and we should keep to the zoning. And many of the governors all through over 1 month now have been going without, pretended that the issue of zoning never existed. Okay. Until PDP brought out their candidate. And incidentally, he comes from the north.
From the north. That was the idea of what I said, that both of them were waiting for who was going to blink first.
Yes, they were waiting for who was going to blink. And suddenly, 11 northern governors wake up. Suddenly, 11 northern governors wake up to remember zoning. No, they are battling for their lives. Okay. They know definitely that maybe if there are 2 candidates from the north, it's going to split their votes. So what do they want to do? Maybe their game plan is to split the votes in the south.
Okay.
It could be to split the votes in the south. So people like Festus Keyamo had a very wonderful conference in which he praised them. Yes. That is a new thing in Nigeria. It's a new light in Nigeria that governors could see that. There's nothing like that. I don't think they were being clever by half.
By half.
It wasn't so. It's a deliberate ploy, possibly, to split the South.
To split the South. Okay.
Because they know that if there is any election today and there is one candidate maybe from the north, that the entire north is likely, if we go by our
voting pattern,
tribal configuration,
ethnic, religious, and what have you.
So by tomorrow maybe there is one Igbo man who is contesting from this, a southeasterner this other way, Yoruba person on the southwest, and Hausa Fulani.
So they can skew all the votes and then make a mess of it.
And it's what the colonial powers did when they discovered that NCNC was so strong and that there was a Nnamdi Azikiwe who was so solid. What did they do? In 1951, they easily
came up with all kinds of parties, MPC, NEPU, and the rest of them.
Egbemo Duduwa immediately became a cultural organization,
becoming a political party,
and now started fighting NCMC. Jamia Mutani Arewa immediately became NPC. So by the time what is the split?
I still have with me in the studios my amiable guest, Cosmo Asindodima. My brother, I hope you're still there with us.
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's follow the trajectory the way we were coming before.
Yes.
But let's move a little bit forward.
Yes.
Because if we're talking about APC and then shifting the goalpost and then what they're doing in-house, maybe it's going to be indirect or consensus, we are getting a hairful on a daily basis. Let me throw you an angle, because you can't say APC without talking about the factor of Asiwaju TINUBU.
Yes.
Part of what he said, which is a statement of fact really, was, and which people are trying to kind of pick on, is, you are the leader of the party. We have taken you to be a kingmaker. In most cases, kingmakers don't become king. But in this case, he's saying, no, don't sell me that. If I have done that for Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, why can't I do it for myself? What do you think along these lines?
I think it was our guy in Hitler. He said the first law of nature is the necessity to be strong.
Of course.
And there's nothing wrong if Bola Tinubu wants to be the president of Nigeria. Whatever you're calling the party leader, all those leader, chairman, they don't have any power.
Of course.
The real power is to be the president and commander-in-chief.
To be an elected public servant.
To be an elected public servant. To have where you be in the commanding position.
Of course.
To determine policies.
That's right.
The rest are simply, titular.
It
doesn't.
Right.
They should sell that to him. If he is a citizen, he's a Nigerian, and nobody should, cast him down and said, look, you cannot run for president. Just be a glorified royal father. He doesn't want to be that.
Yes.
So there's nothing wrong if he wants to run as a president.
As a president of Nigeria.
Nigeria, yes.
Thank you very much. And based on what he said, he alluded to the fact that whatever anybody is saying, if a consensus is not me, let us go to the field and test our popularity, which is something he's very sure about, very sure of that.
Yes.
This is the way I want to go. But what I'm looking at is the APC as a political party owes it to Nigerians to give us a level playing field so that our polity can move forward.
Perfectly so.
Move forward.
Perfectly so.
Because there is no gainsaying. Atiku is a formidable politician.
Yes.
So if APC has its onions or has its head on its neck, they should look for somebody formidable enough to give Atiku a good fight.
Yeah.
What do you think along these lines?
Yeah, that's what I had said, I had alluded to earlier. There's no doubt in the fact that TINUBU is going to be a formidable candidate.
Of course.
Because he had paid his dues, he had extended his reach beyond the Southwest. Within the party, he has very solid structures, and he has a very deep purse to pursue his ambition.
Okay.
So all the necessary things, it was John F. Kennedy that said you need three things to win an election. First, the money; second, the money; and third, the money. and that and that TINUBU has. So that. But I believe that. But I keep saying it still that the governors were not fair. They didn't start saying this earlier. It was only Ganduje in Kano that was with him, and a few others. They were not up to 5. But recently, immediately, TINUBU article came. We now have a chorus of governors talking about zoning.
Because they now knew his formidability of being able to...
They shouldn't tell us, they shouldn't gaslight us and try to play the gentleman's act of saying, let there be zoning. No. Let them go straight and say, give us a candidate that can confront Atiku.
In the
Let them
PDP.
say that's what they want.
That's it.
They shouldn't tell us that it's zoning, because they're now roping it around zoning to make it look gentlemanly. It's not so.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And to you, our viewers, that has been my brother, Cosmos Izodima. Like I told you, he is a man that knows his onions. He's been able to share his ideas with us, and I'm sure you must have been able to learn one or two things therein. The element of what we give to you, our own information dissemination, is based on one fact. And that fact is, we are not spoon-feeding you. All we're doing to you is give you the facts, you think about them, and form your own opinions. Based on this, I would like to say one big thank you to my brother. Customers, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you, Bola. It's always been my pleasure.
And like I told you while we were on, some of your fans are saying, bring that man again.
Thank you. Thank you, my
your fans out there.
Valued listeners.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And to you, our viewers, I'll say, don't go away.